So, guys, today wrapped up IGN first, and they did an interview, and it was Ask Bungie Anything. So, probably there's not really a whole lot I'm going to talk about in this, but one of the good news is that supers and abilities will have a faster recharge time in the main or in the full release of Destiny 2. So, that is one concern people can cross off their list in terms of things like, PvP balance and all this other crap. That really, because I was one of those people that I was very nitpicky about the beta. I'm going to be very nitpicky about Destiny 2. And I still think that the experience was overall better than what we've seen in Destiny 1 in terms of balance and gameplay and things of that nature. But there's a reason why me and people like Joker from Darkside Royalty Lore and a lot of other, well, not a lot of other, but some of the other YouTubers are being a little bit harder on Bungie in terms of what we expect out of Destiny 2. And there's a valid reason for that. When you have channels such as, Mesa Sean and some of these other more popular YouTube channels where they talk about all the positives going into Destiny 2, spout all their love for the game and everything, it's really reflects a lot of the community's feelings about the game. It's the reason why we all play Destiny. But sometimes some of them, to stay on good terms with the community and things like that, don't really tell a whole lot of negative about the game. I think more out of fear of upsetting the player base and upsetting Bungie than anything else. But if you only give positive feedback on the game and on things like that, that tells Bungie that people are liking those things, even if a bulk of the community doesn't like those things, such as no random rolls on weapons and things like that. So, on that subject, we're going to get into some stuff that came out of Bungie yesterday and today, and some of the things from the beta that I am not very happy with, and I'm going to be very blunt and honest, and this isn't to disrespect Bungie, because I do think that they have built a really fantastic game. Destiny 1 was amazing. I think that Destiny 2 will be phenomenal. But nothing in life is perfect, and Destiny 2 is an example of something innovative, something changing, and some of those changes not being for the better, and being a flawed masterpiece. So we're going to jump right into it with probably the number one most fucked up thing that's happened so far in all of the news and stuff coming out this month from IGN first and from Bungie, and that has to be the fact that you are getting handed an exotic for a pre-order bonus. Now, the Cold Heart exotic looks fucking awesome. It really does. It looks like one of the best guns I've ever seen. The design is phenomenal. The little niche it has going for it is pretty cool, with the cool heart, or the cold heart and all that stuff. And the cooling chambers. Now, I haven't seen, a lot of people have been saying arc damage. I haven't really seen any evidence of that. I looked back through all the trailers looking for any indication of arc specific damage, but I have not seen anything. I'm really hoping for a new element here, but the general takeaway is that it's arc, and I think that's got a lot to do with the blue color. But then again, ice abilities would probably be a similar blue. So I'm going to hold off judgment on that. While I do anticipate that it's probably just going to be arc damage, and we're all going to be a little bit let down, I'm hoping that with all the ice theming that we actually get a new element. And if I missed something that did show that it was arc, or say specifically that it was arc, please let me know in the comment section down below. I do like to give accurate information, and if I have missed something, I do want to make a correction to that. So thank you if you do notice anything like that. So the gun itself is cool. The idea of handing you an exotic as a pre-order bonus is not cool. It takes away from the meaning of what exotic weapons are meant to be. They're meant to be unique, they're meant to be interesting, they're meant to be lore-filled, they're meant to be pieces of the world that you find, that you collect, and they're not meant to just be handed to you. Three of Coins started this kind of thing where exotics started to lose meaning because they came about so frequently. Now, I don't want Three of Coins in Destiny 2. At the same time, I don't want it to go back to year one where you almost never see an exotic and it's a fucking 34-hour grind. Or, I mean, 34. 300-hour grind or more to try to get an exotic because you have to keep grinding the raid or things like that over and over and over and over and over again. I would like to see it be at a balancing point where there's quest exotics and that they drop randomly from, say, a Crucible match or a strike boss or this or that. So that way it's up to RNG, but it's not so long between them, but then everybody has accessibility to them, and it's completely randomized. I think that that would be the best balance for exotics, but I think giving them away as pre-order bonuses is just wrong on a lot of reasons, and this has a lot to do with the subject of microtransactions, paid DLC, and pre-order bonuses, which are all poison to the gaming community. I don't care if you support them, I don't care if you pay for them. I'm going to pay for it. I pay for DLC packages all the time. I don't buy microtransactions. I do pre-order a lot of games, but I think that overall, the concept of that is wrong. It's more corporate greed thing, and people are buying into it. And the big thing is, the gaming community can change this by refusing to pay for it. If people just stop buying that stuff, but everyone wants that stuff. But that's all content that should just be in the full release of the game, and there really shouldn't be any reason to do so. I mean, I pre-order games for series that I know I like, and I play over and over and over again. But I'm not going to say that every time I've ever pre-ordered a game, it was worth it, because there's been a lot of times where I pre-ordered games, and they turned out to be massive letdowns, and then I feel like, wait, I just wasted money on this game. I should have waited and watched the reviews, and I probably would have never played it at all. So, that's a gamble you take with pre-orders. You're putting your money down ahead of time on a product you have no idea whether it's going to be good or not. You're going on the hopes that it's good, and if the company lets you down, then you're out money, and then you feel cheated and lied to. So, that's been a really big issue for me with a lot of these things going on with Destiny 2 and just gaming in general. And I would have to say probably one of my other biggest complaints that came out of IGN first was from the interview today where they asked Luke Smith if our guardians would have voices, and he said nope. Now, for anyone that doesn't understand the importance of this, because I've seen people that say, what difference does it make, this or that, I'm going to use a very, 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 very popular franchise as a perfect example for why it does not engage you in the story as much if your character does not have a voice, and that is The Legend of Zelda. Now, from a storytelling standpoint, Legend of Zelda does a great job of giving you the story of the world, the story of the characters surrounding Link, and the adventure that Link goes on. The one thing it does not tell you is how Link feels about things. It doesn't express Link's feelings. It doesn't show you. It doesn't engage you with Link as a character as much as it does with the story of the world and the adventure that Link's on. Now, this may seem like a very minor complaint, but in terms of storytelling, it really limits the engagement the character or the player has with the story. If you can't get connected to your character, you don't really feel like it's telling your character a story. You feel like it's telling someone else's, and you're just along for the ride. And that really loses that feeling in there. Just like and this is perfectly portrayed in the opening mission, Homecoming, that we got to play in the Destiny 2 beta. There were a few points where it really didn't make sense that our character didn't talk. Probably the first indication that our character was going to have a shitty story in Destiny 2, and I'm not saying that the story for Destiny 2 is going to be shitty, but I'm going to say our character's role in it is going to be as shitty as it was in The Taken King and in Rise of Iron, which is basically bordering on pointless. So, the first scene that indicates this is the first thing you see your Guardian, where they're flying in and they see there's a problem going on in the city, and the Ghost makes a remark to your Guardian about commenting that he flies too fast, and he just looks at him. That's it. And then they said, fly faster. That whole scene, the moment your Guardian doesn't speak, it loses the effect of that moment And that moment just really was an indication of what our character's story was going to be like going into Destiny 2, and that's a massive disappointment. Now, probably the best showcase of where this really impacts the story happens to take place on Gaul's ship, where Gaul's giving you the old, Cabal beatdown across the deck of his ship, which, for starters, your character takes it like a bitch and doesn't even try and fight back, which to me is ridiculous. I mean, I'm not even going to go into that, but there is no logical reason why your character didn't fight back, for starters, or at the very least tell Gaul to go fuck himself. I mean, there is something seriously wrong with that, where your guardian just takes an ass whooping across the deck of a ship and doesn't even think to fight. I mean, in all reality, the first instinct they should have seen when all this is going on is pop a super and go to town on Gaul, but that didn't happen. But at the very least, they could have fired some shots off at him, had a little bit of a showcase of what Gaul's strength really is, why he's such a war-hardened general to begin with. But they didn't. They pretty much made your character take it laying down, which is one thing that's bad enough on its own. But then to make them completely silent, not say a word in argument to what was going on, it killed that scene completely. And the worst part is, there's no logical reason why your character doesn't have a voice. Bungie's never come out and said, hey, this happened, that makes your character mute. They just took away your fucking voice, which makes no goddamn sense in the story. So that is something that is massively disappointing, and I expected Bungie to do better on that end. I think a lot of the community did, and to be completely honest, with things like that are missing, it feels like Bungie is basically saying to the community that we heard some of your concerns and we fixed the ones that we felt like we wanted to, but your other concerns, they can just go out the window. And when people are paying for their product, spending time playing their game, Bungie's priority is not to their own vision. It's not to their own their money. It's not to their own name. It is to the community that plays their game, that supports them, that gives them money to begin with, and that believes in them and expects them to put out the best product possible. Now, I'm going to reserve the rest of my judgment on the story aspects until Destiny 2 comes out, but that is something I wanted to talk about because that is something that is seriously wrong in the storytelling. It still has a chance to be fixed with DLC and things going forward, but I wouldn't expect it to, guys, in all honesty. So, to recap this entire video, we got some good news. We got the supers are going to get buffed. We got some really bad marketing decisions on Bungie's end. And we have some really bad storytelling decisions on Bungie's end. Now, we're going to go ahead and end this off on a good note. And that is the fact that from what I hear, the Cold Heart is going to be an energy weapon, so you aren't going to have to give up your power weapon for it, which means that we'll have to see how strong it is. It looked like it melted things pretty quick in the trailer, but take that with a grain of salt because I doubt it's actually going to play like that, especially in PvP. But look forward to that. Some of the other things that came out of all of this is that there's, they talked about a lot of things all month long going on in Destiny 2, and we've seen some information out of a trailer that came out from, I think it was a European game company. I think it's called Game. And they showed a ghost shell that keeps track of your kills. It's a kill tracker. Yeah, kill counter, kill something like that. Kill counter ghost shell, basically, that keeps track of your kills in both PvE and PvP. So that's pretty neat looking. We also seen a few glimpses of some weapons that could be some Iron Banner weapons. If you want to know a little bit more about that and get a theory on that, check the link below to Unknown Player's channel. He did a really good video on that last night. And go show him some support. And really, overall, I think that Destiny 2 is going to be a phenomenal experience, but I think that it's definitely very flawed, and I think that if we don't point out these flaws, Bungie will think that people are alright with that, and they're going to just continue doing it. So if you want it fixed, talking about it's the best way to do so. But, I don't know, maybe I'm asshole number one. Let me know down below what your guys' thoughts are. So, if you liked the video, hit that like button, subscribe, all that other nonsense, and until next time, guys, I'll catch you all later, and I will see you in the next one.